and good morning. I'm going to do a little bit of housekeeping, internet housekeeping, before I actually get to today's title and talk. Yesterday, I got a message from someone that said, "I'm sorry that I do not qualify as your friend." And I replied, "Right now, I have 29 people on my friend request list, and since I reached the 5,000 friend Facebook limit, I can only add people as others drop off. I do have a fan page that is automatically approved." It was interesting because after I posted that, 4 people did drop off, and I was able to add the 4 oldest people, and this man who wrote that note happened to be at the bottom of the list, near the bottom of the list, so that I was able to add him this morning when I came to the computer. But prior to that, um, where is it? Oh my goodness. People post so many things on my wall that sometimes I can't even find things that I've posted myself. Um, and now it's just looking, Facebook is looking for the part that I want to go to. It has everybody else's posts, but not the one that I'm wanting to look at. But posted, I reposted something that a friend of mine sent me yesterday, and the response was overwhelming. I mean, I just want to tell you folks how much I appreciate all the love that I get from people around the world. I mean, it blows me away. Oh, it just finally arrived on my wall. I mean, on my screen. Uh, it was a thing that I posted to every single one of you who are on my friends list. I enjoy catching up, looking at pics, hearing about you and your family, sharing jokes and news, etc., etc. I'm not going to read the whole thing because I don't have time to go to everybody's wall, and I hardly ever go to the news feed except when I'm saying happy birthday to people. And yesterday, I think there were, 17 people that I said happy birthday to. And it varies. It might be 4 and it might be 20 something. I have had 20 to 30 people in one day that had their birthday. But I do try to send birthday greetings to everybody. I think I might forget once in a while, but it's never my intention to forget. Anyway, uh, I do appreciate all of my Facebook friends, all of my YouTube subscribers, and I do attempt in each case to say thank you for the subscription or thank you for the friendship. That's part of my routine. Now, some people on YouTube do not allow comments and do not allow messages. So those people block themselves from ever getting any thanks. But I get lots of thanks and lots of love. And in fact, I was in a meeting last night. I didn't get home until after 11 o'clock. And when I caught up on my emails, I got to bed near midnight, I guess, somewhere close to midnight, when I sort of caught up on much of what I had to do. But I'm laying there in bed and I'm just simply basking in all of the love that I'm receiving. And so many people tell me they love me. So many people. I mean, it's amazing. And there's going to be a wonderful relationship that will come out of all this love. And I will not make the mistake I made earlier this year where I project a relationship with someone and announce it to the world and then not have it come the way that I thought it was going to happen. I'm just not going to do that anymore to anybody. I'm not going to put anybody else in the spotlight. Um, there's some really nice possibilities happening, but I'm going to let them develop on their own without broadcasting it to the world. I want to be open, but I don't want to put a potential relationship ever in jeopardy by prematurely announcing something that is only a dream or only a vision to me. But the people that are showing me love, I mean, it blows me away. And I just want to, again, I've taken almost 5 minutes to say thank you. Thank you for loving me, each of you. The title for today is Spirituality in a Vacuum is a Bunch of Hot Air. And the blurb goes like this. I owe the subject matter today to two comments that came yesterday in response to that video. One said, quote, once when I used to join Facebook spiritualist groups, in one of these groups I was making a comment about problems I had. Then I got comments telling me that everything that happens in the world is my fault because I created it. I saw the true face of spiritualism around the world that day. People try to be spiritual without even knowing how to be human. End quote. And that came as a YouTube comment, and I posted it on Facebook and shared it with my Facebook family. And my friend Aristomenes from Greece commented, quote, indeed, and I would like to add that this person witnessed the true face of matrix spiritualism/spirituality. The mystics that expressed such views were speaking from their perspective, not the perspective of conditioned humanity. You cannot get the meaning of such an idea unless you build your spiritual experience up on and within your humanity. The Matrix has always promoted spirituality in a vacuum, which in its essence is really a bunch of hot air. Thank you, Aristos. And for those of you that are only on YouTube, Aristos has been commenting on my videos since September 2011, I believe, somewhere around that period of time, and offers tremendous insights. Initially, he began just sending me personal emails, and I said, this stuff is so good, it needs to be shared on Facebook so that other people can read it. And I say Facebook because YouTube limits the length of comments to 500 characters or something like that. And Aristos is very wordy, but very wise in the things that he shares. Now, this was one of his shorter commentaries because it was a commentary on what I read at first. But it reminded me, as I was meditating on this morning, it reminded me of the thing that Jesus said. You are the salt of the earth, or the salt of the world. But if the salt has lost its savor, wherewith will the world be salted? Spirituality in a vacuum, to me, means spirituality that does not impact the world that we live in. And that's pretty much what I was talking about yesterday. What a choice, martyrdom or conformity. And Aristos' commentary on that video, which was very long, actually he posted it in a separate post on my wall. That's what the Matrix allows. We either have to conform to what the world wants us to be, or we get killed for being something else. Because being a genuinely spiritual person who is also a genuinely human person, and who is also a genuinely angelic person, who is all of these things, because it's the merging of the opposites that makes us fully human. But that's the last thing people in control of the Matrix want. So they allow a spirituality that divorces itself from the world and lives apart and separate and doesn't get involved in the politics and doesn't get involved in the work of transformation of the world itself. And the inner, and Aristos has said this time and again, I have said it time and again. The work is not either or, inner or outer. The work is both and. We have to do the inner work. What is the inner work? The inner work is recognizing how we create our own reality by our thoughts. And if we really examine ourselves, we'll think, oh, no wonder I'm always getting sick. I'm always complaining about my body, that it's not good enough. Or no wonder I'm always having this problem. I'm always complaining about that. And so the universe is responding to me by giving me what I'm complaining about. But conversely, there are people that don't want to complain about anything. They don't even address the issues of the world. And so they never shine a light on them. So see, here's the thing. That's so hard for us to get the paradox. Because in our personal life, it seems to work one way, but in the world, it seems to work the opposite way. Why? Because one is inner and one is outer. One is what we take in, and the other is what we put out and experience of what we take in. So the world does reflect. The world does reflect our beliefs. The world does reflect our responses to it. And there's truth in that. But you learn that, as Aristo says, by examining your humanity, which is the within part. That's the work we do within. We examine ourselves. We're always willing to change our beliefs, to change the way we think, and change the way we communicate with ourself. Self-communication is the most important thing. The most important thing, because you can't love your neighbor unless you also love yourself. The trouble is we love our neighbor as we love ourselves, but we don't love ourselves. So we don't change, and then the world doesn't change. But there's a whole lot of people that do some of the inner work and really do love themselves. But God forbid that they should ever get involved in trying to address the ills of our world, in trying to right the wrongs and to address the real issues and the essence of the problem. God forbid that I get my hands dirty in this world touching some unclean thing or some unappreciated emotion because it feels too much like fear, or it feels too much like anger, or it feels too much like something that I'm trying my best to get away from. Well, that's not doing the inner work. The inner work is allowing yourself to feel what you feel and to stop judging yourself. When you judge yourself, then you judge what you're judging in yourself with everybody else. And you continue to create the same world that we've been experiencing, a world that is disconnected, a world that is separate, a world where our humanity and our divinity are seen as dipolar opposites, and God forbid that they should ever come together and create a whole person, one that is fully human and fully divine. But yet that's what the focus of religion, from the master's point of view, from the prophet's point of view, that was the whole aim of spirituality, to integrate the human with the divine, so that we could be the salt of the earth and literally preserve the world not as it is, but as it was intended to be. And we are love, just like our Creator is love. So many people play with that idea. They see that idea, but then they refuse to transform the world around them. And it doesn't have to be big things like Mother Teresa. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to go out and picket the government and stuff like that. But it does mean that you have to take some chances. You have to get out of your comfort zone. There's spirituality in your comfort zone is a bunch of hot air, as Aristo says. Or as the other writer says, they're people trying to be spiritual without being human. There's no such thing. To me, that's what the Course in Miracles does, in a sense. It puts things on a plateau that are unreachable, and it creates a disconnect. Now, other people say, Ron, you're misperceiving it, but that is my perception. I might be wrong, but that is my perception of a lot of spirituality in our day and age. There's a disconnect between the human and the divine elements, and the human is totally rejected. The human emotions that we get to experience in this dimension, they're rejected and ridiculed as not being worthy. And yet we experience them anyway, even when we try not to. But we deny that we do, because then our mask would come off and people would see us as fully human. And that's one of the things that people in workshops have said over and over again. I learned how to take off my mask. I learned how to be willing to be vulnerable by telling the truth about what I'm feeling and what I'm experiencing and what I'm thinking. And by knowing the difference between what I think and what I feel, we merge them together all too often. So anyway, I wanted to share these things together. I actually chose this yesterday before I even went to the meeting last night. I chose those two things and I highlighted them to talk about them this morning. And then when I came to the computer actually, and I didn't go into the meditation room this morning. I was out in the atrium under the beautiful full moon, although it was behind a cloud the whole time I was there. But in any case, I wanted to talk about this today because I think it's so important that we recognize that we have to be allowing of our humanity, because that gives us the compassion. Unlike the people in the spiritual group that this person tried to join and said, well, it's all your fault. You create your own reality. You're responsible. Well, yes, you are. But it's often used as a weapon against people. Just like when I was a fundamentalist Christian, people would use the Bible as a weapon to attack others and to make them feel guilty and to shame them. That kind of spirituality is allowed in the Matrix because it divides, because it creates more of what we don't want and less of what we need. We need to love one another, and we need to bring our spirituality home to our humanity so that we can let the light shine in our world and transform it and be the salt of the earth. Thank you for listening. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.